I can do an art order. Our parents are not well off, and I'm all he had as far as helping with financial support. My husband and I have 4 children now. At the time we only had 2, but so I mean we're not well off, but we wanted to help him, so we put the money on his books, and he started really working hard on doing the best he could. And I know that Dan says he has a lot of art pieces. I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of art pieces in my house and my parents' house that he would do, and he would send to us, and he would send it to the family, and he's like, you know, do you think I'm getting better? How am I doing? And every single piece he did just got better and better and better. And I was just so proud of him. And you know, he started branching out more and more and getting more and more excited and being, I need more art supplies, I need more art supplies. So we were always happy to help him and get those art supplies to him, because that was the one thing in prison that he had to get a light in his world. We don't have a lot, but we tried to do the best. Sometimes I would have to tell him, you're gonna have to wait till next payday because I just don't have the money right now. And he'd be like, okay, you know, and he'd get a little sad because that's what he had to do. But the more and more he did, the better and better he got. And I don't know if Dan reached out to him or he reached out to Dan. I'm not sure exactly how that connection got made. But as soon as he found out that there was an art gallery that would take his art and actually display it, it just lit up his entire world. He was so excited, and every time he called me and he'd be like, they love this, they love that, they're doing this, they're sending my art to Hong Kong. He was so happy, and it just gave him something to look forward to all the time. And he kept working so hard to make sure that every piece of art got better and better and better, and it just really gave him something to look forward to. And this last year we lost our dad, and it was in the middle of COVID, and that was a really hard thing for us, and for my brother not to be able to see my dad again was really hard. And then we found out about this art show, and David was just like, I know that Dad was looking out for me and looking out for you, because they want you and Chad to go and represent me for this show. And so I said, absolutely, no matter what we have to do, we will be there for you, because Dad can't be. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cry. I told myself I wasn't gonna cry. But it meant a lot to, my dad was my brother's biggest supporter and biggest fan. Even when he was in trouble, he would just look at him and he would say, David, you're better than this. We know you are. We know you can do better. We know you can get your life back on track. And when my brother went to prison, my dad was still his biggest supporter. He said, hey, you know what? You messed up, but you have a choice now. You can fix this. You can choose to better your life, or you can choose to do your time and go back out and mess up again. And my brother told my dad, he's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not ever going to come back in here. When I'm done, I'm done. And he has worked so hard to do so much art and so beautiful. And he did a portrait of my parents right before my dad passed away, and it is up in my mom's room at our house, because my mom moved in with us after my dad passed away, and he did a portrait of my husband and I, our wedding picture. He did a portrait for us. We've been together for 22 years now, so that was really amazing. And I want to thank Dan for really being there, and seriously, you have brought so much light to my brother's world by taking on his art and letting him know that I'm not the only person that appreciates his art, that there are other people out there, that he is a good artist, and there are people who care about him and want him to do better with his life. And not just forget about him, because it is so easy for the world to just look at these prisoners and just be like, write them off. They're done. You put yourself there, that's your own problem. Don't care about you anymore. And it is so amazing when somebody that is not a family member says, hey, you can do better. You will do better. We can help you. We can put your art on display. We can do this for you, and we can be there for you. And, you know, it's not easy to do that even as a family member, because, of course, we know our family members messed up. We know they messed up and got themselves in prison. But that doesn't define who they are. That defines a choice they made in a moment of weakness in their life. It doesn't mean they can't do better. It doesn't mean that they can't turn their lives around. And that is what this has done for him. It has helped give him hope and helped him turn his life around. And he is so excited for the time that he actually gets out of prison and can still keep doing art and pursue his passion and know that there are people who love his art and know that he is doing a really good job. And that is what this means to us. I mean, for us to support him as a family, and like I said before, Dan found him, we have so much art in our house, and I don't even have a place to put it all. It's in boxes all over the place because I don't even have room. It's like, you know, but I love it. And I mean, there is paintings in every room in my house. Every single one of my children has picked out their favorite artworks from Uncle David, and they have it displayed in their room. Every time he sends paintings, they get so excited, and they're like, I want to see what he sent, I want to see what he sent. And, you know, they love to pick out his art, what they like the best, and they've swapped it out from time to time. But that's what we have at the house. And David loves to, I mean, he does, every year right before school starts, he buys the composition notebooks, and he paints a specific picture, whatever my kids are into that year. He always paints that on a composition notebook and sends it to the kids so they have a personalized notebook to take to school every single year. And we've just adopted another child in our life who's 14, almost 15. And David called me up the other day and he said, what does it be like? What's his thing that he's into? Because I know what the other kids are into. I already started working on their presents for Christmas. What does B want? And so he's doing a composition notebook for not just all of my kids, but also our extra child we just took in. That's just who he is. He has a big heart, and he loves to do the art. And I'm so thankful, so thankful for everything that Dan has done for him, and that he has this in his life, because it gives him hope and it gives him a release, especially during COVID, where they weren't even allowed out of their cells, and that's all he had. I mean, he could just sit and do art for hours and hours because he couldn't go do anything else. So I just want to say thank you to Dan and A Touch of Light, and to all of you for doing this wonderful gallery opening for him and allowing us to be here to represent him. So thank you all very much.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you to all the guest speakers and everything. It was wonderful. There is plenty more food. Please go grab some more food. Walk around. I'm sure, Daniel, you can help with some of the stories. I think there might be a couple pieces from Minnesota. And so you can talk with Antonio about that. And then to the Garofalo family, you can show some of David's work. So